Her mother described her last moments as her teeth were glistening in the moonlight as her hands were up to defend herself. True Crime Cousins, let's talk about the story of Shilie Turner. Shilie Turner was a successful high school track star. She attended William Penn High School in 1992. Her success led to a lot of jealousy. Quanda Gary, who was her initial competitor, had transferred to Penn High School, and the two ended up becoming best friends. Shilie also dated Sean Williams, who transferred to the high school his senior year. Now, on January 18, 1993, the high school had a track meet that Shilie was not in attendance for. Her coach, Coach Hickey, had went to her home to pick her up, but her mother, Vivian King, had told him that she was at Quanda's house. So when he asked Quanda, Quanda said, no, she ain't here. And she wondered why her mom thought that she would be there. Since no one had heard from Shilie the whole day, her mom finally files a missing person report. Her neighbor, who lives across the street, reports that she's seen Shilie and Sean together, which Vivian was unaware of because she wanted her just to focus on track. So the detectives find Sean, and Sean tells them that the last time he'd seen her was the previous night when the two went to dinner together to meet Sean's family. After dinner, Shilie had left around 1:30 in the morning and got on the bus by herself to go home. Now, since cell phones weren't a big thing back in the 90s, they didn't have a way of communicating or checking in on each other. Sean ends up taking a polygraph test, and he passes it and he gets cleared. A few days later, detectives talk to Shilie's friends, and they bring up her known rival named Toya Brown. They note that when the two raced against each other, tensions were of course high, but they were very, very competitive. Anyways, they question Toya. Toya says, yeah, we were rivals, but we respected each other. Toya is also cleared. So all hands are on deck to help find Shilie. Shilie's friends even go to Vivian and help pray. They even make up posters, and her story ends up in the local newspaper. So a month later, on February 20th, a man walking his dog in a park finds a body. The body is sadly ID'd as Shilie Turner. Now, she didn't have signs of SA, but she did have a lot of bruising, and she did have 6 pew-pew wounds. This was personal. Now, Vivian is actively helping the police find a person of interest. She expresses her concerns of Coach Hickey. Now, for them to have just a coach and student relationship, she thought it was weird and they were too close. Even Shilie's teammates would describe how obsessed he was with track and field, and he would even show up to random meets, find his favorite star, talk to their parents, and get them transferred to Penn High School. Now, cousins, I know what y'all thinking. He did it, right? He has an alibi. He was with a group of people, and he gets cleared. So Shilie is now laid to rest. And a popular radio personality named Mary Mason, she picks up on Shilie's story, and she interviews Vivian King. This is where things get weird. Vivian describes Shilie's last interaction at the park. She described as her teeth were glistening in the moonlight while her hands were up to defend herself. Now, how would you know that if you weren't at the scene? So Mary picks up on this. She's like, hey, this is weird. This lady is suspicious. So she uses her influence and puts this out on the media, and this spreads like wildfire. So Vivian picks up on her name being out there. She goes to the detective to try to clear her name, and she says, hey, give me a polygraph test. Now, why she failed that damn polygraph test? So detectives tell her, hey, you failed this test. And she starts talking. The night that Shilie went missing and she got home late, the two had an argument, okay? Vivian was a nurse, but she was also a hardcore drinker and she partied a lot. So when Shilie got home, the two had argued, and she threatened to take Shilie to the police department so they can take her to a juvenile detention center. She forced Shilie out of the house with no jacket and no shoes, and she left with a pew pew in her pocket. Now, she, instead of taking her to the police, she drives to the park. And these two, they just start a full blown physical fight. I mean, like throwing hands, okay? Vivian hits her in the head with the pew pew and then fires. She pew pewed her daughter 6 times, covered her up, and goes home as if nothing happened, and goes to sleep. That's cold. So detectives go, well, why did you do it? Vivian goes, I just lost my mind. Baby, you never had a mind. So what it seems like was Vivian was jealous of her own daughter's success. She reportedly did track herself, but it didn't go anywhere. So she lived through her daughter. Anyways, Vivian gets charged with third-degree murder, and she only serves 10 years. 10 years for offing your own child is crazy work. Child, who needs enemies when you have a jealous, mean girl mama? This case was from an episode of Mean Girl Unalivings. Follow me for more.